CenterPoint can manage your credit card purchases and at the same time maintain the purchase activity to the vendors you did business with. A credit card purchase increases the credit card liability balance. It creates an open invoice to the credit card vendor. It tracks the vendor you did business with to the purchase of the goods or services. For tax purposes, the credit card charge is treated as a cash expense. And when the credit card is due, all accumulated charges are holding ready to be paid under the credit card vendor. Let's create a credit card liability account. We would need to go to Setup, Accounts, and Accounts. And we're going to create a new account for our credit card. I'm going to give it the abbreviation of Visa and the name Visa card. The type will be a liability. And the category is credit cards. Credit cards is a specific category with properties to handle the credit card. We'll need to go to the Detail tab and identify the vendor that you are going to be paying the credit card to when it's due. So we have a name in our name list called Visa. You could do your lookup list and find the name. Or if you need to, you can click New to create a new one. Or you can right-click and choose New from here. On the name, you'll want to also identify the payment term because that's going to manage the due date for your credit card purchases. On the detail of the vendor, on the name type, is the payment term. And we have assigned a payment term of due at the end of the month. Typically, a credit card is due on a particular day of the month. This one is set up as due at the end of the month. You could set a term up to be whatever your credit card is. You might also want a days before due, which would, if we were in this case putting in a credit card charge for the end of the month, it would automatically go to the following month with the due date. And we're going to click OK there and save our changes. And we're ready to save our credit card. Now that we have a credit card, and you can have as many credit cards as you need to, now that we have our credit card, we're going to go do a credit card purchase. We're going to select Processes, Purchases, and Vendor Invoices AP. You'll be doing your credit card purchases in the same screen that you do Vendor Invoices AP. So now we're going to, after you select your company, we're going to select the vendor that we actually did business with. So we bought some things from the office supply store, and we have a name in here of Office Plus. When we selected Office Plus, it brought in its default AP account. If your particular, some of your names are always going to be used for your credit card, that you go there and you charge it on your credit card, you could set up the default AP account to be your credit card. So if I edit this Office Plus, right-clicked, I want to edit, and again, under the Vendor Detail button, I'm going to identify, instead of accounts payable to be the default AP account, I'm going to choose my Visa card. And save that. And let me pick a different name. And then I will go back to my Office Plus, and now you'll see that it automatically filled in my AP account of Visa card. I'm going to tab now. We could put this in a batch if we wanted to. A reference number is optional, and we can put in the date of whatever this charge date was. And you can see by this date of 10/28, it didn't go with the date due of 10/31. It went to 11/30 because of the days before due date set on our payment term. And we'll put in the amount of our charge, and then in the grid, it's the same grid that you're using in your regular vendor invoices, or similar to doing your cash payments. So we could change the columns that we have displayed with the right click, but we're going to be identifying what this particular purchase was for. So it was for some office supplies, and you could put in an invoice number if we wanted to. And the amount, if this were for a couple of different things, I could change this amount. It would default to the next line of identifying what the next part was for. Maybe it was for some repairs. some building repairs or something that we bought at the office supply store. And then you could put in a notation. Once we're done with the details on our grid, we're ready to click Save. The other buttons are there to scan a document or attach document if you want to. Your memo lines, just like in doing and entering a payment. And available discounts on the right, which won't typically apply to using your credit cards. So we're going to go ahead and click Save on this entry. That's going to increase our Visa card balance and increase that expense account. And if we chose another account, and again, we could assign this one to Visa card in the name or just assign it. And it now tells us that for the gas station, when we assign that, it picked up our Visa card, and our balance on our Visa card is $175, which is the charge that we did with the Office Plus. And if we identify that this is going for gas, and we're going to do 20 gallons at $60, we'll say. And now we can click the adjust amount. We didn't start with the amount up there, but we're going to click adjust amount. And we're ready to save this entry. That increased our Visa card balance now to $235. You can continue adding all of your charges. And when the time comes to pay it, you're going to go up to Processes and Purchases and Pay Invoices Due. And in our Pay Invoices Due, we can select our bank account that we want to pay our credit card with. And by the Find By Due Date, remember our due date was 11/30, so we're going to put out that due date to 11/30 and the date that we're going to pay it. And now we have our Visa card listed. You can expand that Visa card and see the individual charges that are underneath it. And we see the $60 to the gas station and the $175 to Office Plus. And we could choose to pay all of them with this check mark up here, or we could choose just to pay a portion of it if we wanted to. And then you are ready to post it. If you post that transaction, that would decrease your bank and decrease your credit card balance.